When I woke up at Walter Reed, like 3 weeks after being wounded, but I don't remember a lot of it because I was pretty drugged up, and what I do remember is sort of, I guess, initially probably like some grief of like, oh, like I guess realizing, okay, what happened? I did lose a leg. Like I didn't really know to like what extent, because I was very immobile. Yeah, and then I had a lot of that wondering what's going on with guys that were still deployed and didn't know like really what the story was. And I think I was communicating on like Facebook and stuff to different guys, and you know, the story wasn't clear to them either. The story still isn't clear exactly what happened and how the events went down. I got hit, I think 3 times, like once in the lower leg, and that's kind of maybe what took my legs out from under me, like before I even heard the gunshots, and then either initially sprayed me or as I was laying there, like rounds were flying around and stuff. And I had questions for some of the guys, and nobody was really able to totally answer it because it was chaotic and people are piecing together fragments of what they remember. So close to the story I have now. One of the guys shot in a group of us. The reason why probably was his family was being threatened, or he knew he had done something he wasn't supposed to, and we were taking like fingerprints and stuff of these guys. So it's like, oh, if these fingerprints are on our system and we do like a forensics on like an ID that it blows up or we find, like then he'll be flagged. And so it was probably a combination of one of those things. Yeah, I don't think I really had much like hate or, you know, like anger towards the guy that did it, you know, other than I don't like, you know, I felt like I got shot in the back. But I mean, I could understand, like, it's a war and that's how war goes. Yeah, that was the start of a healing process, you know, and I think I've heard it in a lot of different ways where like it's like the next battle, like that's a new fight, you know, that you're in, not like the enemy is the pain and kind of recovering, you know, through that process. And yeah, I mean, there's just it was just, you know, a lot of pain and being, it's kind of like going through each cycle of, oh, you get some medicine that kind of like calms you down and kind of like numbs you, and you go back to sleep and then wake up in like pain and have to wait until like you're able to get the next push of medicine or whatever. For me, I would say because of being shot and not blown up, it was a lot cleaner. The leg was severed at the lower part, and from what I put together, they took a piece of the artery or something was still good and patched up higher where the artery was damaged. So that's why I think they took the lower part, and I couldn't save the lower part of my leg. So I have a relatively clean amputation though it's called like a through the knee or knee disarticulation. So you have kind of like your whole femur and you have the knob at the end, and I can bear weight on it and it's strong. And one of the conversations my dad had early on was, well, they wanted to take it up higher because it's typically a thing they'll do because of prosthetic reasons. Where like you can see my knee centers are off because you can't fit the prosthetic in that same space where like the knee functions normally. And my dad is just like, why would I want to chop any more off? Like let him make that decision when he wakes up, kind of thing. And I think it's benefited me in a lot of ways where I have like a lot of strength and leverage. My biggest problem was I had some issues with my swallowing and like the swallowing mechanism, because I had some nerve damage. So like basically I wasn't swallowing, and every time I would try to like drink or eat something, I would like aspirate. And so that kind of was my biggest struggle. Like early on, they're like, all right, you're gonna try to, you can eat, but we gotta test it first. And then I like went to test it, and I couldn't swallow, and they're like, all right, well, I guess you can't eat. So I went like maybe 3 months where I couldn't really eat. I couldn't eat anything, and I had like a tube, like a peg tube, and they had to like feed me like formula in a peg tube, and I lost a lot of weight. That was kind of the roughest thing, and they said they didn't know if I would ever come back. It was kind of like okay, nerves they regenerate slowly, but they don't know like exactly where it was damaged and if it's like severed and it won't grow back or anyway. But it eventually, I was doing a lot of like therapy for it, where you practice like the swallowing techniques and mechanisms, and even though I can't actually do it, it's like trying to regain it. And I think over time it slowly came back. I was like malnourished, and I just couldn't eat anything and couldn't keep things down. So once I was able to eat, my physical abilities recovered a lot faster, and got out on my own a little bit out of the hospital, which the hospital is just not a fun environment to be staying in. That was like where my trajectory of recoveries just took off. But the whole process, I think I was there for maybe 1.5 years. My journey back into music after being wounded, I had tried to play the guitar early on in my recovery in the hospital bed with my brother and this guy who pushed musical instruments around on a cart and played for people and asked them if they wanted to play the instruments. And that didn't go that well. I couldn't hear and I couldn't move my fingers. So it sort of turned me off for a little bit of the guitar until a few months later, I was kind of in a music program called MusiCorps, and the founder there, he was realizing I wasn't like as into learning the piano, which I thought I would be. So I wasn't participating, consistently. And he anyways invited me to a jam session. He's like, oh, I know you play the guitar, and there's going to be a rock star coming to jam with a bunch of the other guys in the program, a bunch of other wounded veteran guys. So I went back to my room, and I wasn't necessarily excited to play with a rock star, but I felt some sort of guilt maybe of like, well, I got invited and I don't want to blow them off. So I just, on a whim, decided to go to this jam session, and it turned out that it was the rock star that he was talking about was Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. That's how I found myself in the band I'm in now, the Recipient, where sort of roots were based back in Walter Reed, where we all connected through this MusiCorps and Roger Waters kind of bringing together a group and sort of getting the idea going that we could do this. And we've just continued with it as a like real rock band. We do our own original music, and it's inspired by the sort of lessons and the experience that we have as veterans, and sort of all the even just like civilian experiences we have. That's where I'm at now. It's become a big part of the purpose I find in my like professional and spiritual kind of life.